Welcome back to another Marvel What If. Today we're going to be going over what if Steve Rogers was friends with Logan or Wolverine instead of Bucky in World War II. I gotta slow down production on these because I keep making them and I can't release them fast enough. Because I don't want to have like a bunch of these in a row, so I have to save them in my phone and then wait to release them. But let's get back into the story. And I must take you back to 1940 something. Time travel doesn't exist, so I'll just tell you what happened. I kind of already said this, but I thought it would be a cool visual, so I'm gonna do it anyway. So this is about if Steve Rogers was not friends with Bucky, but instead with Wolverine, since they were both alive at the time, and both were in World War II. This is actually kind of based on another idea. I guess you could consider this a prequel to the What If the X-Men Were in the MCU video. Although maybe not, because I think I'm going to take things a little differently. So I guess you could say the catalyst for this story would be that Bucky wanted pizza for lunch that day instead of a sandwich, which would then cause him to be late, so he could never stop a young Steve Rogers from getting jumped. He would instead be saved by James Howlett, or Logan, or Wolverine. Also, just to have more colors on screen and putting them in their superhero outfits, a lot of this movie would happen the same, with all like the Captain America origin. In this story, he wouldn't actually have his metal claws, he would still have his bone claws. I mean, it's kind of hard to get across in Lego, but I think it would be like more civilian. It wouldn't be like full superhero outfit like this. More militaristic, but it wouldn't be fully white tank top either. But honestly, since the world hates mutants, maybe he wouldn't even use his claws for a large portion of the movie. But eventually he would get found out as a mutant because of his healing factor, and like super strength and stuff. So he would eventually use his claws. He would be in battle, in that one bit with the train. Except since one of them literally cannot die, Hydra would be using heavier ammunition on him. He would save Cap, and he knows he's basically invincible. So he would save Steve and take all the firepower for himself. Honestly, this is kind of a way to dance around that he wouldn't really be able to fall off a train because, he has claws on him. Anyway, he would be forced off the train and he would fall into the icy tundra below. Unlike Bucky, he wasn't, barely alive and frozen. I guess he'd still be frozen. Now, based on what happened to Bucky, he might lose his arm entirely. But I don't think that's much of a problem for him. Although that means he would only have one claw. Well, he's unconscious from the fall, because don't forget he doesn't have the adamantium. He would be frozen into a block of ice, but this, for Wolverine, at least, would be the worst torture imaginable. Because he wouldn't just be frozen and unconscious. Because of his healing factor, I feel like he would be awake and alive for a lot of him being buried in the ice. Just screaming for help until one day a Hydra agent would find him. He would then go through the Winter Soldier origin. Hydra would brainwash him, torture him, and make him an assassin. He would also be dipped in adamantium, and he would have a fully adamantium arm. But he would also be given the Winter Soldier Super Soldier Serum. He would not only be a super soldier, not only have an arm made of adamantium, not only have a healing factor, but also the claws. So he would be Wolverine, but as a super soldier. And evil. I don't think Hydra would give him a costume this flashy, but I'll put him back in there anyway. He would still carry out the hit on Tony's parents in 1991. In this timeline, it wouldn't actually be the same as the What If the X-Men Were in the MCU timeline. Because in that video, I had Wolverine be an X-Men from the start. But he would still be working for the Hydra at the time. But a lot of it would still stay the same until Civil War, which we'll get to. We get to the Winter Soldier. I mean, a lot of it would stay the same, but obviously since he's Logan instead of Bucky, the reveal would be in a moment of combat, like in the movie, except his claws would pop out, and he would remove his mask himself. In this timeline, I think Nick Fury might not make it out of this. Which, honestly, wouldn't have the hugest effect, as you might think. Because at this time, the Avengers were already assembled, and he really didn't do much. I mean, it was always nice to have Samuel L. Jackson, but he didn't do much after Avengers. Although I guess in Age of Ultron he did save them. But in this timeline, I don't think they would even need saving because they would have the X-Men. But I don't think Nick Fury would actually make it out of this. Because he barely survived the Winter Soldier. But add on Wolverine claws, he could probably just throw the car and then chase him down that hole he dug. I think Nick Fury would die. I think the climax would still remain the same, where he actually saves him at the end. I think I'm just going to breeze through a bunch of the Avengers and X-Men stuff, because if you haven't seen that other video, that will fill in the gaps, but it's not required viewing. But if you want more information on it, I'd recommend checking it out. All you really need to know is that Team Iron Man remained the same, plus like all the X-Men, all being Jean, Professor X, Storm, Cyclops, Beast, Quicksilver, Iceman, and Gambit. Team Cap's heaviest hitter would be taken away because Wanda would probably side with Team Iron Man because of the X-Men and like her brothers on the team and stuff. And Wolverine would actually end up accidentally killing Hawkeye. So what would change? Hawkeye would not die. Team Cap would have Wolverine. And it depends on the writer, I guess. But if you're familiar with the Age of Apocalypse story, Cyclops fought Wolverine, and his laser vision actually cut off his arm. Kind of similar to how Bucky gets his arm torn off in this movie. So Wolverine's really cool arm would be annihilated off the face of the planet by Cyclops. You might say that I'm just being a killjoy, but trust me, this will be cooler. I think someone from either Team Cap or Team Iron Man, it could go either way really, would be heavily injured or killed. I mean, of course you have Wolverine, so he could have done some serious damage. But also, Cyclops' blast would have to be quite strong to melt through the adamantium. So really, it could be someone from either side. And I will go with Hawkeye. No, not actually. Because that would be 4 videos that features Hawkeye dying. And I actually thought a lot about this. It could have been someone on Team Iron Man that was killed by Cyclops' blast. But maybe it would be more powerful if it was someone on Team Iron Man and they were actually killed by friendly fire. After thinking long and hard, I think Rhodey. Or War Machine. Or Iron Patriot. Unlike in the other video, Cyclops would be exiled from the team. But back to the Wolverine stuff. I think his arm would grow back because of his healing factor, and Iron Man would fight Steve and Wolverine. I mean, it's kind of a stretch that Wolverine's arm gets torn off his body again. So, actually, maybe it didn't grow back. Not because of any reason, just because it didn't have enough time to heal. He could have, like, maybe a little bone sticking out or something. The outcome of that fight would still be the same. Logan would be frozen once more, and eventually sent to Wakanda. Remember earlier how I promised losing his arm would be cooler in the long run? Well, since adamantium would exist in this universe, maybe the Wakandans would combine vibranium and adamantium into an absolutely indestructible arm. Oh, this is getting too long. I'm gonna quickly run through Infinity War. Cyclops would be all alone. The X-Men would not have Cyclops or Wolverine. All the Guardians of the Galaxy, as well as Thor stuff, would remain the same. Meaning Thanos would still have the power, space, reality, and soul stones. And I mean, like, that would be unchanged. The X-Men would stay on Earth. Even though Wanda and Vision never fell in love, Captain America, Falcon, and Black Widow would eventually end up in Wakanda anyways. With Black Panther, more importantly, Wolverine. All the X-Men, aside from Wolverine, would stay on Earth. Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man would still go to space. Just kidding, no they wouldn't. I don't know why I thought that. No, they would also still be on Earth, because Mr. Squidward stands no chance against the X-Men. The X-Men would have gained every member except for Bishop, because Days of Future Past has not happened yet. Oh god, this is getting exhausting. So, Captain America, Wolverine, Black Widow, Black Panther, and I think Falcon? It's getting hard to keep track of everything. For the good of the universe, would return back to Earth, along with Thanos. In this timeline, however, since Cyclops is no longer on the team, Storm would become the new leader. And finally, to cap off the video, Iron Man would never have to die, because honestly Wolverine with his vibranium adamantium hybrid arm would just body Thanos. I guess Vision could remain alive. Where is he? Vision's over there. And Doctor Strange could keep the Time Stone. One thing I kind of neglected to talk about was what happened to the Infinity Stones, but I honestly have no clue. The Power Stone came from Xandar, which was annihilated by Thanos, and the Space Stone came from Loki, whose neck was annihilated by Thanos. Yes, Loki is in the ceiling holding the multiverse together. The Reality Stone came from the Collector's Collection, which, as you might have guessed, was annihilated by Thanos. And finally, the Soul Stone, which was given to him because of the sacrifice of Gamora, and Gamora was kind of annihilated by a cliff. Also, this would have caused Endgame to never happen, so they wouldn't have invented time travel, so I don't know, man. And sure, No Way Home would never happen. But this timeline spared us from the dumpster fire that was Secret Invasion, since Nick Fury and War Machine would have both died. Honestly, I think the X-Men would remain as is, with the members being Professor X, Storm, Rogue, Jubilee, Beast, Quicksilver, Morph, Iceman, Jean Grey, Scarlet Witch, and Gambit. And Cyclops would go do a Disney Plus show or something. As well as Wolverine, I guess. Alright, and that is the end of this pretty unexpectedly lengthy video. Also, I added these like trees onto the sidewalk. Does it look good? I'm gonna put more in here because it's like a park area. Maybe I'll put like a basketball. Well, no, because that's already over there. Maybe I'll put like a tennis court or something. Alright, but that's it.